to win over the Leafs. Bruins finished second in the Atlantic Division. Now we'll take on the third-place team. That's Toronto. Game 1 likely happening Saturday night at TD Garden. Jose Ramirez with a tie-breaking RBI single in the 11th inning. Cleveland beat the Red Sox 10-7 on Tuesday night. Alex Cora says Rafael Devers feeling good, so likely going to be the DH tonight. Garrett Whitlock, the IL with an oblique strain. First pitch, 7-10 with Tanner Houck on the mound. The NBA banning Toronto's Jonte Porter after a gambling probe showed he shared information and bet on games. The league determined that Porter placed at least 13 bets on NBA games using another person's betting account, including wagers on the Raptors to lose. Pelicans forward Zion Williamson ruled out of Friday's play-in tournament elimination game against the Kings with a left hamstring strain. You get the East play-in games tonight. First up, it's the Sixers and the Miami Heat, followed by the Chicago Bulls at home against the Atlanta Hawks. Headlines are brought to you by the New England Auto Show. It's back at the Boston Convention Center, April 25th through the 28th. Get tickets at bostonautoshow.com. I'm Jim Murray for Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Kevin Majori's got you next in a half hour.
This is Kristaps Porzingis.
Left-hand dribble, lobs it. Porzingis catches with one hand and throws it down.
You're listening to the home of Boston Celtics basketball, 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Now,
you have dog crap in your system.
This is the Baseball Hour with Tony Maz.
They did nothing this offseason.
Brought to you by Bigelow Tea, Corona, Gravely Zero-Turn Lawnmowers, Jackson Lumber, Team Impact, Blue Moon Belgian White, and FindMassMoney.gov on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Here's Josh Naylor. He swings and lines a base hit into right. Jimenez rounding and on his way, and it's bobbled by Abreu down in the corner. They're going to wave the run in. Here's the throw, the tag, and he got it. Naylor down to second on out number 3. We'll see if they challenge here. They are going to.
Oh, that was close, too. That was at 1 second.
Cleveland is challenging the alcohol at home plate and also the blocking of home plate.
If he does block the pathway of the runner without possession of the ball, the umpire signals him safe. But this is on the tag.
After review, the call is overturned. There was blocking of the plate. The runner is safe. Cleveland will retain their challenge, and the runner will remain at second base.
I'm sorry. This rule is just wrong.
He said there was blocking of the plate.
It's a wrong rule. What else are you supposed to do as a catcher? He's playing the ball.
Well, that's something the Red Sox haven't done well enough this year, play the ball, but that's where we're going to start tonight on the Baseball Hour. Jared Carrabis in studio, as he is every Wednesday, presented by Blue Moon Belgian White. Be sure to relax and enjoy the ball game with Blue Moon Belgian White. That's Blue Moon, born in a ballpark, brewed for baseball. We'll open up the phone lines right away, 617-779-0985. I do want to ask you about that new rule at home plate, or really any base about blocking the bases. This was really controversial earlier in the year, but let's do that later. That's not where I want to start. I want people to focus on the beginning of the play. Abreu kicking the ball in right field. So here's my point, Jared. Red Sox fans, baseball fans are going to focus on the call on Connor Wong. And, was he or was he not blocking the plate? And for those who didn't see it, Wong did kind of kick his left foot out a little bit. Okay, but the point is, if Abreu fields the ball cleanly, none of this happens.
Correct.
Okay, the whole thing started with an error in right field by Wilyer Abreu, who I think himself has 3 errors this year. Might be somewhere in that area, which for an outfielder is a crap ton. Okay, I'll check that out, but I think he's got 3 errors. I don't know if Jimmy or Jared's back there, if someone can look that up. But 3 errors for an outfielder is a lot. The Red Sox as a team, 20 errors on the season.
Should be more.
They started the year, Jared, 7-3. They came home from that West Coast trip 7-3. They are now 9-9. So you add those things two things together, what do you get?
You're gonna make me do math right now, Tom?
No, I'm just saying that they basically
They haven't played well since starting off 7-3.
Okay, why not? What's been the big problem?
Defense and mental mistakes. It's been very frustrating to watch because when you cited Wilyer Abreu there, he's also made some spectacular plays, including last night. Like he had a game-saving catch last night. He had a catch, I believe, in the first game of the series in the first inning up against the wall there in right field. Same thing for a lot of these guys. Like a lot of these guys have made spectacular plays, and then they'll turn right around and botch a routine play. Devers, that I believe they were in Anaheim, backed up on a ball. They ended up losing that game because granted, they only scored 1 run, but they lose that game 2-1, and 2 runs scored on that play. You have mental mistakes now, which is what is really irritating me, because I know that people want to immediately point to the coaching staff, and I was talking to Jimmy about this before I came out here. This is not college. This is not high school. This is not Little League. It's not single A. It's the big leagues. Like, you not knowing how many outs there are. That's happened how many times already? I remember earlier in the season, Jolie Rodriguez
opening day
punches out a guy.
Yeah, opening day.
Second out of the inning, he starts walking off the mound. You don't know how many outs there are. Last night, it was Pablo Reyes at second base, and no one really picked up on this because the run ultimately didn't matter. It wasn't the go-ahead run. It was the 10th inning. And I think it was the 10th run to score. So it was 10-7. So at that point, you're like, whatever, it's the third run. First and third, 1 out, ground ball to Reyes at second, and he just casually flips on. It was a double play ball. You thought that there was 2 outs, so you went to first. Why didn't you go to second? That was a double play. I mean, and when I was talking about it earlier in regards to why is this happening, I think that they're just in their own heads, because we made this point earlier, maybe it was last week or the week before, about how this team doesn't have the us against the world mentality. No one believes in us. We're the underdogs out here, and we're going to prove everyone wrong. I don't get that vibe from them at all. So if you spend the entire winter looking at social media or listening to sports talk radio or reading the newspapers, and everyone is saying, well, this team sucks, and you're like, maybe we suck, because if we go out there and we suck, how could you be mad at us? You said that we sucked before the season started, and now we suck. How could you be mad? We're meeting expectations. But where I get frustrated and upset, because you and I are kind of on the same page here, we're stuck watching this team. You have to watch them. I have to watch them. I can sit through offensive slumps. I can sit through stretches where the entire staff has a 7 ERA, because we kind of expected that. And it more is coming now because of the injuries. We had Whitlock go on the injured list before the show. What I cannot sit through is garbage defense and mental mistakes.
Bad baseball.
This is the big leagues. At no level do you need to learn how many outs there are. That's something. There's a million places in a big league ballpark that you can look up and see how many outs there are. I have not. I can't, at least can't recall how many times a guy getting picked off. Like, we're getting picked off 3-4 times in a 3-game span. I can't recall that happening before. That's like amateur. That's amateur stuff. Slumps are going to happen offensively. Maybe you're going to go through a rough patch with your pitching staff, because it's not one of the most talented pitching staffs in the world.
And by the way, that happens to every pitching staff.
Right.
Even the good ones are going to go through stretches where they have a week or 2 weeks where they get their brains beat in.
But there's no excuse for the brand of baseball that we have to sit through on a nightly basis and watch take place. There's no excuse for it.
So, Jared, you're with the word I think you want to use is careless. Okay, there were careless baseball teams, sloppy baseball teams, bad baseball. And then there are bad teams that just can't execute some of the things on the, execute quality strikes or hit good pitching, or in other words, they just get beat because they're not very good. Then there are teams that get beat because they beat themselves and they can't do the most basic things. And this team now falls into that latter category. One of the things you said to me in the text I sent you earlier today was, this team should have 4 or 5 more wins than they do. They're 9-9.
They're 9-9, and they've been in every game except for 2.
Okay, so really, if you just take I'll tell you what, let's call it 3. Let's call it 3 games they could have won. 9-9 becomes 12.
It's 7.
Okay, but
objectively speaking, Tony, like, I know I'm a Red Sox bobo, but they lost 7-0 and 7-1. Outside of the next 7 losses were all games that they either had a lead or were tied late. They went into extra innings tied or had a lead. 7 of their losses, they should. I mean, I'm not saying that you don't win them all. That's baseball. But they had a chance to win 7 of their 9 losses.
Okay, so be conservative with it is all I'm saying.
Sure.
Just for the purpose of the exercise, whether it's right or wrong. Let's just take 3 of those and convert them to wins. You're now 12-6.
Yeah, you're in Yankee territory.
Right? 12-6. That gets you into the playoffs.
And they're about to win again because they just came back against the Toronto Blue Jays. Aaron Judge just delivered a bases-loaded 2-run double. They stormed back late. Like, that's what good teams do. Red Sox don't do that. And
not only that, not only did they not rally back, they killed themselves in the process.
Yeah. And you have guys like Kenley Jansen making excuses after. I didn't stick around to see what he said last night, but the last time that he pitched poorly, blaming the baseballs, maybe that's the case. Because I asked Dallas Braden, he's the broadcaster for the A's, he's my co-host on Baseball is Dead. I said, I've only seen Kenley complaining about this, and he corrected me, and he's like, no, other guys have said it, but it's kind of like, all right, again, wrong messenger. Like, if you're out there walking everybody, and then you're complaining and making these excuses after, like, are we really, when your teammates outside of you have combined for the best pitching staff in baseball, I don't hear them complaining about the quality of the baseballs. So it just kind of falls on deaf ears when you have Kenley do it. But yeah, Kenley blows a save last night and you lose the baseball game.
So again, I go back to what you just said there, that, other guys are throwing strikes. Okay, other guys are throwing strikes. Figure it out. But the point about the Red Sox, the nature of the defeats is embarrassing, frankly. It's embarrassing. It's not a legit product. So aside from the fact that they're losing, they're borderline unwatchable. Maybe not even borderline. Which brings me to an exchange that I had with Jared on the ride home last night. I was in a particularly blue mood yesterday, Jared.
Same.
On the ride home. I think I know why. I'll explain it when we come back. But the exchange that Jared and I had, as well as your phone calls, and another careless mistake that the Red Sox made last night, this one on the bases, you want to talk careless? This one really qualifies more as downright stupid. We'll get to that as well when we come back in the baseball.
that he might have. Oh, no.
There goes Casas. Here's the throw to third. He is going to be out at third base. Oh, no, indeed. I mean, the look on Cora's face tells you everything you need to know. What was going on there? Why is Tristan Casas trying to steal third base?
Yeah, if you're Abla, it's been no say. No idea. You got nobody out, and you're getting out at third base. These are the plays that keep managers up at night. This cannot happen.
I mean, that's just shocking. Reds actually made some base running mistakes. They've run themselves out of some innings, but that is so glaring. Wow.
While the pitcher's holding the ball and gets thrown out at third. What the hell are you thinking?
Is that a situation where someone doesn't want to throw somebody under the bus and says, I mean, you're throwing yourself under the bus too, but it's like, I thought I saw a sign that I didn't see?
It's possible. I'll tell you what I think happened, Jared. Earlier in the at-bat, just quickly, there was a pickoff attempt at second base and Casas went back. Okay, so clearly he was taking enough of a lead to make them notice. And he's probably just dinking around because who in their right mind would give Tristan Casas the steal sign as the leadoff man from second to third? Okay, not even stealing second.
Right.
Okay, you're already in scoring position to begin with.
Right.
Okay, so nobody in their right mind would give him the green light to go. So I think once they threw there, what's the rule on number of times you can pick off? 2?
3. Well, you have to go on the third one.
Okay, so
you have to get him out on the third one, else he gets the base.
Right. So once they went the one time, I think Casas probably said they're not going to attempt another one because then I got them. Mm-hmm. They have to go to the plate, or so I'm going to time this and I'm going to go. And he got gunned down easily because he was clueless. Right. What are you trying to run it all for?
Yeah.
So I just think he overthought it. You know, when he said after the game, low IQ, low baseball IQ. I would say low IQ, period, baseball or otherwise. But it's that kind of mistake. And those are the ones that leave fans and viewers shaking their heads. I want to read to people the exchange you and I had on text last night because it was a particularly dreary correspondence based on how the Red Sox are doing. And I'm wondering if fans are feeling the same way. Bill in Texas. Bill, go ahead.
Hey, Jared. Hey, Tony. Hey, Jared, we got to build those submarines.
Got to build them.
Casas went because the third baseman was back, and he was staring at him at the time. Listen, Jared, I wanted to ask you, Jay Hay was saying earlier today that Casas has the fourth best OPS in the last year in the American League. Mm-hmm. The kid is an up-and-comer. I'm staring at this roster, which is bad. Are the Sox going to unload the truck to tie this guy up? Or is he somebody we got to think about in the future to get something for so we don't lose him and not get anything back?
I mean, it's a great question. And so Jay Hay is one of my co-hosts on Baseball's Dead. He used to be a producer for Baseball Tonight. Very smart guy. And he made the point earlier about how if the Red Sox were better, Tristan Casas is a player that we would be talking about as maybe not a top 10, but somewhere in the mix for an MVP candidate.
Okay.
It's getting overshadowed because he's on a bad team. But to Bill's question about the extension, I think that they have kicked the tires on that, which there's been some flip-flopping going on there. I don't know if you've been keeping up with the dialogue, but originally Tristan said something to the effect of, I don't need the world. I kind of just want enough to be comfortable and take care of my family, blah, blah, blah. And then it quickly became, well, my agents think that I'm worth more than what the Red Sox offered, so I'm going to defer to my agents. So, I mean, I'm all for players getting every single cent that they can possibly get, but there's already been some flip-flopping there. So I don't after the Rafaela extension, we already got the Bayo one earlier. I'm not super optimistic that we're going to see a Casas extension in season. I think that that's going to take some more pushing.
No, nor am I. And I'll tell you, why can't they both be true? Why can't the Casas be saying, I don't need to break the bank, and the Red Sox be lowballing it?
Well, they're definitely, I mean, they're the Red Sox. They're definitely lowballing it. Yeah.
So, again, the Casas is the big one. Casas is the big one. That's the one. Let's see what they're really made of, how much they want to give him in a long-term contract.
I mean, that's going to have to be over $100 million.
He's a middle-of-the-order bat. They're not getting him for $50 million.
No.
Like they did Bayo and Rafaela.
No.
I mean, in the case of Rafaela, I'm not even sure he can hit in the big leagues. I have no idea. So that was an unnecessary signing. I'm not upset that they did it. I was just telling you, I don't think you had to go out of your. There's no parade for signing Rafaela. I don't think he changes the trajectory of your franchise.
Nope.
Bayo, we all like the ability, but pitchers get hurt, so he took the money. I also think it says something that he took $55 million because he's probably worth more if he pitches to his potential. In fact, you know what? If he pitches to his potential, I know he's worth more.
And he's probably looking at all the other guys' elbows exploding throughout the league, and he's like, yeah, I'll take a guaranteed payday.
So, but Casas is there to hit, plain and simple, and play a representative first base. Last year, what he produced in the second half of last year is not a $50 million contract. Everybody knows it. So the Red Sox actually want to pay him, or are they trying to lowball him?
Well, what
my
Jay
guess
Hay
is
mentioned,
it's the latter.
I can't remember all the names, but it was something to the effect of, since he got hot last year through his start to this season, it was like a 927 OPS or something like that, and he was grouped in with, I know Yordan Alvarez was one of the names, and as far as it was him and three other guys, but it was a very elite class offensively to be in.
Yeah, look, once you get into the 900 area, all bets are off.
Sure.
Okay, and again, just because I looked this up this morning, I think there are only 4 guys in the big leagues who have a 900 OPS over the last 5 years combined.
Freddie Freeman,
Mookie Betts,
Trout,
Ohtani. No, it's not Trout. It's someone else. Soto.
Okay.
Soto's the other one. Okay, now oddly enough, I think now that I look at it, are they all left-handed hitters?
I bet you Trout does.
Oh, no,
Probably just
Mookie's
doesn't
right-handed.
qualify.
No, so 3 left-handed hitters. But anyway, you get the idea. If you're on the line, sit tight for 1 second because I just want to read this exchange that Jared and I had yesterday because I think it is representative of what you may be feeling as a fan. So again, it starts with me at 6:52. I was on the way home last night because we only had a half-hour program, and I was just not at all looking forward to the Red Sox game. I think the show last night, I was really in kind of a dark mood and was bitching about the state of baseball. And so I texted Jared on the way home last night and said, this team is not inspiring me in the least bit. I find them astonishingly boring, is what I said to Jared. He replied, same here. The play is boring, the players are boring, the storylines are boring. I replied, it's awful. Sadly, I don't think they are worth my time. Jared replies, they are truly not. They don't have that prove everyone wrong attitude either, which is what you talked about in the first segment tonight, Jared. Mm-hmm. Then I said, they don't have much of anything. Jared replies, I'm not even that excited about any of the future pieces either, at least the ones that are here. Casas is going to hit, but the defense hasn't made much forward progress. Rafaela can play defense, but he can't hit. Bayo doesn't strike guys out, so his ceiling is like a 3. Meaning a number 3 starter. I replied, exactly. Nothing there to excite you, literally nothing. Jared replies, the player I'm most excited about is Roman Anthony, and he's a teenager, so I guess I'll check back in another 5 years. LOL, I replied, I know that's old, Jared, I'm sorry. Okay, but the point is, they're hard to watch. On many nights, I don't want to say they're non-competitive, but they kind of embarrass themselves with the sloppiness and the carelessness. There's nobody to really sink your teeth into and say, I got to watch this guy pitch. I got to watch this guy hit. And on top of it all, now there are injuries all over the place. Whitlock went on the injured list. So that rotation that held so much promise, 60% of it is on the injured list right now. Lucas Giolito, Nick Pivetta, and Garrett Whitlock. The only 2 guys I haven't heard yet are Tanner Houck and Cutter Crawford. Let's see if they hold up. Let's go back to the phones. Jeff is in Norwood on Jarren Duran and Alex Cora. Go ahead, Jeff.
Yeah, how we doing, guys? Just a couple quick points. Jarren Duran, number 1, hasn't stolen a base in 12 games. Kind of curious about what's going on with him, because if he's not stealing bases, I don't know what his game is. Number 2, not related. When exactly do we stop blaming Cora for the lack of focus? And I still think he doesn't make it through the season.
Okay, Jared, how much you hold Cora responsible for the sloppiness?
I mean, there's definitely partial blame for sure. Like, I think we had a conversation about leadership, and once Story was out for the year, you look around and you're like, all right, when this team is in a funk, who do they turn to? Like, who's the guy that says, we need to get our head out of our asses here and we need to focus? Who is that guy? I still don't know the answer to that question because I think the answer is Alex Cora. But, he's also, we kind of like share this characteristic similarly where I can't fake it, So I don't believe in this team. I don't think that this team is making the playoffs. I'm not going to put words in his mouth. I really haven't talked to him much at all this season. But if you were to hook him up to a lie detector and ask him, like, do you think that this is a playoff roster? He'd probably he would say no. And if he said yes, it would be like, you're lying. So I don't know. Like it's just, I think when the situation calls for it, is Alex Cora someone that could fire up the group and be like, hey, like we need to get it together here? Yeah. But when the expectations are what they are, like we've already heard a call back to a line from last year or whatever it was the year before, the roster is the roster. We've already heard that this year. Like that's not like a rah-rah. That's not like a, hey, go out there and get him. It's we've been handed a squirt gun in a nuke fight. Like, I don't know what else to say in terms of the blame pie. It starts at the top. When you talk about this team isn't they're not a major league caliber product. Do you blame Alex Cora for the mental mistakes and the defensive miscues? Or do you start at the very top and say, hey, John Henry, maybe you should have invested more in this roster and then Alex Cora would have had more weapons to work with? It's really whatever you're feeling. I don't think it's one individual in particular. But, yeah, of course, he's not exempt from blame because now that Story's gone, everyone is looking to you for leadership. And I also still look at John Henry because it's not like this defensive blip. It's not a blip on the radar. It has been a prolonged issue dating back multiple years.
I think over the last 5 years, Jared, they've made more errors than any team in baseball.
That makes sense.
Starting in the COVID year.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Okay? So that's what it is. And again, Cora wasn't even here for one of those years.
He was not here in 20, yeah.
Yeah, he wasn't here in 2020. So here's what I would tell you. Baseball, based on my experience, starts with personnel, like most sports, but more so in baseball because it's really the matchups are all individual. There's no double teams in baseball. Can't do it. Everything's one-on-one. The ball's hit to you. Sometimes you get miscommunication on a fly ball or what have you, but generally speaking, the guy who the ball is hit to has to make the play. Mm-hmm. The pitcher has to get the batter out to make a quality pitch. The ball is hit to the second baseman. There's no hiding. It's not like football where you don't know what the blocking assignment was or somebody ran the wrong route or someone blew the coverage. It's not like that. And it's not even like basketball or hockey in that way where their guys are moving around. No, it's pretty clear. So it starts with personnel. Now, the sloppiness, you want to say that they didn't emphasize it. I would say, okay, well, it's not emphasized. They tried to emphasize it. They tried. And some of the errors, Rafaela dropped a fly ball right to him.
Yeah.
Jaron Duran dropped a fly ball right to him. Rafael Devers has made errors on balls that have been hit right to him. Same with Pablo Reyes. In right field, Wilyer Abreu has booted balls that he's in position to field on the ground. They're not fly balls that he's dropping. He's booting the ball that he's trying to field and pick up and throw. So these aren't strategic things like missing cutoffs, or there's some of that. But I would say at least half of their errors, if not more, have come on just simple, basic, standard plays that guys have their heads up their asses.
Yep.
Okay, I think it's that. So Kevin Managerial will get you caught up on headlines here. Don't go anywhere. When we come back,
He knows it. He just took off. Actually, I didn't see it because I was talking to Ramon, and then that happened. And we cannot push the envelope that way. We cannot do it. That's the bottom line. 27 outs are too valuable in this game. And the same way we talk about defense, like we cannot give the opposition 27 outs, we cannot do the same offensively. We only have 27, especially against teams like this. So we have to take care of it. And he talked to Huddy. It's like, man, I just trying to do too much in that situation. I mean, it's tough, but we got to show it tomorrow. We still got 2 games in this homestand. It's been a tough one so far, but we come here, we win 2 games, and get ready for Pittsburgh.
So again, that's Alex Cora post-game. I'm not sure you can hear the question there. I think it was Ian Brown who asked it. And I left it in because I thought it was important to see how Cora was reacting. I thought it was relevant to the conversation. He sounded pissed at Casas. Okay, and rightfully so. I mean, that's just a brain lock. It's not even a brain lock. It's just dumb. It's just a dumb play. Like, what are you doing?
You want to know why he was pissed?
Yeah, go.
Because when players make mistakes like that, shows like this point to the manager.
Correct.
But I think as the manager of a big league team, you're looking at your players saying, hey, you need to know better than that, which is kind of what we talked about in the first segment of, like, everyone wants this scapegoat. Who do we blame for this problem? Well, I've always been of the mindset that I blame the players first. They're the ones making the mistakes. They have been playing baseball for their whole lives. You know that there are 3 outs in the inning. You know that you shouldn't get picked off, at least in a dumb way. If you're going to get caught stealing and it's a pickoff like that, then be aggressive about it. Someone the size of Tristan Casas is not a base stealer, and to your point earlier, he was stealing from second to third. Like, I only want to see David Hamilton attempting that.
Exactly.
Or Duran.
Right.
Like, that is why it looks stupid. And then it comes back to Alex Cora, the manager, where shows like this, fans on Twitter, they're going to be like, well, that's got to be the manager's fault. Like, he's the one who has to have his team prepared. And I'm thinking, I have to protect my players. I can't outwardly say this, but I would say in my head, that's on you, dude. Like,
right.
You have to know better than that as the player.
Yeah, and I can tell you, and again, they showed Cora in the dugout when all this happened last night, and, his expression was, what the F is he doing? Mm-hmm. What the F is he doing? He was doing exactly what a fan would do at home. And this is where, look, again, I sound like I'm preaching. Okay, you're as a fan, whoever you are, wherever you are, you're allowed to think what you want to think. Okay, so by all the power to you. I'm not telling you you're right or you're wrong. I'm just telling you, this is the big leagues. The manager's job is not to tell them how to field a ground ball. Or, now there are certain things that the manager can influence. Attitude to me is one of them. The culture is one of them. In fact, I think it's the most important job for a manager. So I have never blamed Alex Cora for the crappy defense. I mean, there might have been occasions where I said, they said they work with this guy. Are they still working with him? So I've asked things like that. What I have blamed Cora for is the team unraveling a little bit at the trading deadline the last 3 years. That they're upset at the front office. Cora's pissed at the front office and management and ownership. The clubhouse knows it, and so it almost gives them a license to say, okay, we can screw off too because it's not our fault. That is something he can affect. The plays on the field? How the hell is Cora going to teach Rafael Devers at this point to field a ground ball? They've worked at it. The ball's hit right to him. Devers is backpedaling on the ball. Like, you don't think that they've tried to teach him you can't backpedal? Your first step's got to be forward. Now, third base is a little different depending on how hard the ball's hit. But some of the balls that Devers has made errors on are spinners that he's moving back on. He's just muffing them.
Listening to you talk now, the point that you made about the trade deadlines, don't you think that kind of happened early this year?
A little bit.
I mean, you listen to some
and
of
I think he caught himself.
But Kenley, the veteran guy, Devers, they're now playing the role of Alex Cora at the trade deadline. If like you're upset about what the team looks like and looking at ownership being like, hey, is help coming? Instead of that happening at the trade deadline, it just happened all offseason. It happened for a more elongated period, and you had multiple guys with some clout on the team going out there and saying, you had Devers complaining about it, and he's a guy that when he talks, you listen, because he doesn't speak up often. And he spoke up and said, hey, where's the help that you promised us? So if I'm one of the younger guys on that team, and this team has plenty of them on it, I'm looking at what Devers said, and I'm like, hello? Like, I agree. And it kind of just spills over into the clubhouse culture.
Yeah, and I do think that the clubhouse leadership, Jared, is a little bit of a problem. Okay, when I say because I don't think there is any.
I don't think that they have it.
So, and I'm talking about the players now. Like your point about Story going down is a good one. So, Cora can only influence so much. And every manager I've ever covered said, there have to be guys in the room that police it themselves. Because when the manager goes in there, they can tune him out. They don't view him as being one of them. Mm-hmm. Okay, so it only goes so far. And to me, the fact that Devers was not there on opening day when they played the way they did to speak to the media, and this isn't a media thing, but it's a thing that is expected of a team leader.
Bogarts.
Right, you speak for us.
He was there every night.
He wasn't there.
Protect us.
And to me, that was a bad sign. Bad sign. Murph in Watertown, what do you got?
You guys crack me up, man. Let me tell you something. That little text chain that you and Jared had, right?
Yeah.
Going back and forth. If you inserted a spouse in there that you were talking about instead of the Red Sox, every one of your friends and even your divorce lawyer would tell you to get a freaking divorce, right? Because it's just miserable, right? I mean, I read Jared's freaking text every time, right? Kenley wants me to never have peace. Whitlock's out of the game. I can't. I'm tired, right? Listen, I got kids in baseball. It's not as good as Watertown Little League, Tony, but, we see these kids make mistakes on the way up, right? And then the the funnel happens, right? X amount of kids will play high school ball. 5% of high school ball players will play college ball. 0.2% will even get anywhere into pro ball, and even less than that to the show, right? And then this is what the Red Sox get from that 0.2% or less, guys making the mistakes that our kids make on the ball field, right? I mean, you go to the big leagues with that base. You shouldn't need to taught those things, right? You tweak things from year to year. You don't have to be taught how to catch a freaking fly ball or catch a ground ball, or, the ball hits dirt and you're a third baseman. You come in on it. You don't back up on it, right? I mean, these are the basics, and they got the worst of the 0.2%.
Yeah, look, Murph, and I understand what you're saying. You get the divorce. Jared and I, Jared and I don't have that luxury.
Yeah, we're like family now.
Okay, you don't have that luxury.
Yeah.
So, again, you do as a fan. You can just check out. I can't. I mean, there are nights I try. So, and I might watch some nights less than I watch others. Nobody watches all 162, so I'm not going to say that Jared does.
Like, that's the thing. Like, I watch every pitch of this godforsaken team every year. Like, for better or for worse. That's why, that was a great call by Murph, by the way. Shout out to Murph. The divorce comparison, I don't have that option. It's more like you don't get to choose your family. They are who they are. And the Red Sox, to me, are family. I have to deal with it. When it's bad, it's great when it's good. But when it's bad, it's like I live with it and I'm stuck with it and I don't have the option to divorce it.
Yeah, and look, independent of the job, I will tell you that I consider myself a hardcore, maybe not like I used to be, but it's in my blood. And the Red Sox I'm more of a hardcore Red Sox follower than I am a hardcore baseball person. Okay, I like the game, don't get me wrong. But I watch the Red Sox. I'm not going to watch the Chicago White Sox play the Oakland A's. You can go F yourself. Okay, sorry, that's garbage. The big games, of course. Yes, I'm interested. And if the good teams are in it, I'm interested. The Dodgers, the Yankees, of course. Yes. But I want to see the Red Sox play well. I want to see them give me a good product and give me a team I can sink my teeth into. This is not that team. Not yet.
No.
Will they be? I don't know. I hope so. So I do have to dig in for the job. I also want to dig in. But the fact of the matter is, it's not as simple as just walking away. I wish it were. On occasions like this, I wish it were. Last night, and again, I have a theory as to why I was so blue last night.
Why?
It's 11 o'clock game on Monday. There's no game on Monday night. Then there's no game, going home. There's not another one to talk about until they play Tuesday night, right? There's a bigger window in there of no game.
Last night was like the first time that I feel like I could settle in to watch the Red Sox at a normal time.
So there's been a lot of that. And they're playing like garbage.
Yeah.
Anyway, I can tell you someone who's not playing like garbage. He used to wear a Red Sox uniform. We'll get to him when we come back.
can take his time. Austin Barnes now waved around as the outfield had some troubles. Then a late red light for him.
Mookie 2 for 2. Single, double.
Make it 3 for 3 for Mookie Betts. Rojas cuts the bag, going first to third. Betts swings, and Mookie's 4 for 4. Right center, splits the gap. Mookie Betts is 5 for 5. Rojas being waved around. 6-2 Dodgers. You cannot get this man out.
Mookie Betts. Can't get him out unless you're trying to get him out of Boston. Good luck with that.
You're evil.
5 for 5 last night. He leads the majors in everything.
Yep.
He's hitting .388.
Good player.
That one's looking worse and worse by the day. I have come to the conclusion that the curse of Mookie Betts is real.
I saw you put that. You read a column about this, Tony?
Not really a column. It's more of just a little item.
A blurb.
Yeah, for the website.
Yeah.
But the parallels are eerily similar.
Mm-hmm.
Babe Ruth won in 1918, got sold in 1920.
Mm-hmm.
Yankees started winning. Red Sox didn't. Mookie Betts won in 2018, basically sold in 2020 because that was a money dump. That trade was a money dump.
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay, David Price went, Mookie went. They got nothing back. So it was basically a similar kind of thing.
Yeah.
The Dodgers won the World Series. Mookie Betts has finished in the MVP voting he's a top 2 guy 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
He is a winner once, and he's been 5th and 6th 2 other times.
He'll probably win this year.
Okay, he's been in the top 5 times, and the other time he finished 6th.
Pretty good.
What a mistake, Jared.
Mm-hmm.
What a freaking mistake. Anything you want to add to the Mookie Betts saga?
I think
you don't have to.
Yeah, I think I've beaten that one into the ground. It's one of those things that until the Red Sox get back to where they were, at least just making the playoffs, I'm not even saying winning a World Series, just being a perennial playoff contender, then it's going to be hard to shake the Mookie Betts narrative.
I mean, that is the one that everyone's going to look at as the axis or the pivot, the pivot point.
Yeah.
Where everything changed is the day they let Mookie Betts go. And I say let go. I still don't think he wanted to be here. I really don't. It's a different discussion for another day.
For the right price, I think he would have stayed, but it had to be the right price. He was not taking a discount to stay here.
Yeah. I think at the end of the day, he didn't want to be here. And I think on some level, they didn't want to pay him. So, make of that what you will. Did they both get what they wanted? Probably. So in that sense, they're probably both happy. But it was more than a symbolic thing because it has sent them on the path that they now walk upon. And that is not a pretty one.
No, it's not.
So, Jared, that's it for the show, pal.
Hey.
Goes fast every week, buddy.
Every single week. But it was good to see you.
You too, as always.
We'll see you next week.
Majorities, get your headlines. Joe Murray coming in studio. He'll have you for the balance of the night. He's got a full show tonight, Joe Murray.